familiar with this area, y'all know exactly where this is. Dade City, Florida, on the Sunshine State Rails, to which I welcome you back. It's a typical Saturday like any other. We found the time to get out and railfan on June the 5th, 2021. There wasn't really a set goal in mind for today, other than to hang around Dade City and figure out some of the final details on their upcoming Railfest, what they are calling Railfan Friday, on June 18th from 5 to 9 p.m., which is, given this is before then, this upcoming Friday. I've heard that quite a few of you will be attending, so I hope to see quite a few of you out there. Other than that, though, we didn't really have a goal in mind for today, but it would still turn out to be a nice one, as A782 starts off the day early by running down the hill southbound, destined for a grain customer in Zephyr Hills. A782 is a pretty much daily local that's based out of CSX's tiny Wildwood yard and runs past the Dade City Depot about once or twice a week, if and only if he's headed down to Zephyr Hills. The grain customer in Zephyr Hills is Cal-Maine, which at one time was America's largest producer of eggs, and they could still be. Right on his tail was Q453, mixed freight out of Waycross early this morning, headed for Miami's Hialeah yard. And he didn't have a whole lot today. From what I know, he dropped practically his entire train at Wildwood, and this is what he's got left. Running past here, this train kind of sums up my point that distributed power locomotives are sometimes used for convenience rather than lenience. With 23 cars of train, this was by no means necessary, but they still had a distributed engine on the end of the train. Well, I guess that happened. A few conversations, and about an hour later came ironically the opposite train, Q452. The previous night's empty haul of mixed freight out of Miami's Hialeah yard headed northward, destination Rice Yard in Waycross, Georgia. Though I'd already seen all three of the engines, I thought I'd take the opportunity to shoot these two. CSX number 911 and 1776 would be the power on today's Q452. Like I said, I've already shot all three engines multiple times, however it's still a very unique opportunity, especially since the 11 and 76 were the first two locomotives released, making this pair the original dynamic duo. So it was neat to finally see the original pair together in daylight. And since there weren't really any other trains around, we thought we'd give a little chase to this guy, following him northward what we could of the visible S-line. And on the contrary to Q453's length, this guy would tip the meters at just over 12,000 feet long, with 45 more cars to pick up once he got to Wildwood, according to dispatch.
CSX detector milepost 825.9er speed 38 no defects, repeat no defects, total axles 720 length 12013 detector out.
4204 locomotive 16911 clear north in Makuchi northbound main.
Alrighty, so we are on the chase of Q452. He's headed to Waycross with mixed freight and those two commemorative units. He's coming up quick, so we're gonna follow him up to Bushnell, but we got two southbounds also in the picture thanks to Mr. Anthony Celeste on Facebook. I was able to figure this one out. There's an 0800-05 in the siding at Summerfield, which is just north of Wildwood. He's meeting Q452 and I think something else. 0800 is Orlando Cole, something that I've been trying to see for a while. So that's going to be awesome, and we'll probably follow him south. Sweet.
"Welcome to Bushnell" sign greets us like a welcome home doormat, as do the crossing gates that are already coming down for our train right behind us.
CSX TQ 45204 locomotive CSX C911 clear Bushnell. Main to main northbound.
We'd set up for the train one last time at County Road 532, just north of the north end of Bushnell siding. Rolling through Bushnell, all on one train, Miami's industry is just about as a welcome sight as our own. And sitting in the car on a warm June day watching it pass, life at 16, I guess it ain't so bad. Further reports from Anthony would tell us that the 0800 coal train would be moving down to Coleman to wait on this train to get by, and then they'd have the all clear to speed south for Orlando. And a little quicker than I had anticipated, my prayers were answered, as an Orlando-bound coal train would pass us on the main line in daylight. I still have plans to do a dedicated chase of one of these things someday when he has a different consist and a little more power, but by all means, this was a train for our taking.
Oh, wait, 105, it's 3071, got it clear. This is the Bushnell heading southbound on the connector.
This is 0800-05, coming out of the Summerfield siding, with a new crew having just gotten on the train there to take it from there down to Stanton Energy Center in Orlando. This train would have originated somewhere out of Indiana as either NO40 or NO41, though somewhere within the Wildwood to Lakeland vicinity, they commonly swap crews and change the symbol to 0800 or 0810, which is what they've done here. It's still the same train though, and the same motivation that would drive us to chase it back south. About 8 miles later, with a couple of traffic-based hang-ups, we'd make it down to the south end of Lakuchi siding just on time.
To 05 with that lead locomotive engine, CSX 3051, got it clear. Signal north, southbound, Lakuchi heading southbound. Oh, in the main track out.
Running past the south end of Lakuchi siding now, they were only about 5 miles away from the place that we started, Dade City. For the record, 5 miles wasn't enough to leapfrog the train again, so we'd roll through downtown Dade right with the train.
CSX detector milepost 825.9er speed 44, no defects, repeat, no defects, total axles 388, length 5126, detector out.
We'd be able to get ahead of the train for one final shot at the Stewart Road crossing, pretty much right across from the Many Mansions RV Resort with the train being right on its doorstep. About a quarter-mile south of here, the train would reach Vitus Junction, a major split in the main line here. To the right, you have the CSX S line, which leads into Yeoman Yard via Plant City, and to the left, which is where this train is going, you have the Vitus subdivision, which takes you straight through the green swamp and down to Lakeland, where a train can turn east or west, and this one will be turning east, to continue east out toward Auburndale, and then continue northward from there, entering the Central Florida Rail Corridor, and finally making it to the Stanton Energy Center in Taft, just shy of Orlando. And go figure for the S-Line, 0800 will be our last train for today. With nothing else running on the main line, or anywhere else in the time we could be out, the rest of the day was spent talking to the folks at Dade City and a few people who would also come out to join us that day, before calling it a day and heading home through some heavy showers. And that would put a lid on today's collection jar for trains out on the CSX S-Line. And must I say, I'm pretty pleased with what we saw. I'm hoping that, for the most part, you are too, as I appreciate you always for watching. And either at Dade City's Railfan Friday, or next time when the sun is out, I'll see you next time on the Sunshine State Rails.